Patrick, and if anyone else knew how to run that board, you'd be so. Patrick and Patrick in Boston. Hello.
Stephanie, thanks for taking my call. How are you guys doing out there on the West Coast?
Good.
Good. Go ahead.
Listen, I need a little clarification because, and again, this is with respect, and I disagree with 95 to 8% of your show, but I enjoy your show because you guys are very talented, and I have to say that right off the bat. I laugh a lot. And
you know what? You're 98% wrong and 2% really good taste.
So my argument is this, and it's not really an argument, again, with respect. I thought it was a valid question that the hair lady said.
Are you calling Marsha Blackburn hair lady? Oh,
okay, that's funny. That's funny.
Oh, come on. We're not that far apart.
Yeah.
But about the definition of a woman, and I say it in the context, and I'm wondering if I could get your side of the argument on, is that I have 3 daughters who are the love of my life, 2 of which are collegiate athletes, and they're on soccer and lacrosse. And it gets down to the argument about the swimmer from Penn who's a transgender who identifies as a male, and the argument that I'm sure you probably have said it, and
identifies as
female.
She identifies as female.
Excuse me, I apologize. Yes. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I would just ask you for your side of the spectrum on if where you're coming down, because if my daughter, who is on a team level, not individually, had to compete against a physically superior biological male in that competition, I'd be bull crap because of the amount of money and the time I invested in her attaining, thank God they got scholarships. And to get to that level and to have with respect, a guy beat her in the pool, I don't think that's inherently fair. And I just wanted to hear what your side is.
First of all, you're missing the whole point. It's not a guy. Do you acknowledge trans people have a right to exist?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes, I do. With respect, I do, because I have a friend whose daughter is transitioning into a male.
So you're what's the reindeer coach on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? You just don't think they should be allowed to play in any of our reindeer games? They shouldn't be allowed to do anything, play any group sports, or participate in?
Well, I guess, and again, with respect, I would probably say no, because it's not fair. If they're biologically superior and physically superior, and again, I know some tomboys that are very good athletes, and they could kick the asses of a lot of guys
I was such a junior dyke myself.
I know, but there's my point. How would you?
And I look like an Armenian dude, but I'm biologically female.
I would not want to play softball against.
No, you wouldn't want to play softball against me. Third baseman.
I guess it's a question of fairness stuff. That's what I'm
Travis,
looking
Chris,
at.
what your thoughts on this as well?
You know what? It's complicated.
It is complicated. I will give you that.
It's a very complicated question. Yes. But also,
and good people are sometimes rightfully confused by this whole, by the whole issue.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I'm not making fun of anybody who thinks the way you do at all, because it is very complicated.
Unfortunately,
however,
a lot of the people on your side tend to be transphobic and homophobic and bigoted,
and call them names.
It gets lumped into, I don't want to use a bathroom with a trans person, and just things that are ridiculous.
Steph, I will say this: as a younger man, I was a bigot. I admit it. I was a homophobe.
A lot of us changed.
I was right is right and wrong is wrong, and I was like, what the hell? But as I got older, and my daughters, God love them, exposed me to the world of difference and diversity, and I'm like, you know what? God bless them. If that floats your boat and it makes you happy, then who the hell am I? But this is more of along the lines of fairness in
Karen,
athletes.
Hang on one second. Karen from Chicago, who has a trans child, just tweeted, let the caller know when people go through gender reassignment. Hold on. They are put on hormones. So technically an individual has the same hormones as a biological female. I was just saying that as I'm not as, what's the word? Knowledgeable in every aspect of trans,
and that is
people,
one of the things they're evaluating right now.
But that's one of the things. So what I'm saying is, Patrick, Chris is right. You have valid points, and I understand what you're saying. However, there are other aspects of that other people can answer better than I can.
Yes.
That obviously there are hormones and other things that are they are female. They identify as female. They are considered biologically female. Yeah.
I think the one point I'd also make too is I feel bad for this woman because they're singling her out and trying to make an example of her as a way of villainizing trans people. And this is one very specific example. And swimming is a very specific sport where there is a physical advantage if you are a male, just the build of the body, the way the body is constructed.
Patrick, I get it that you have a what's the word? I mean, you got a horse in this race because you have daughters that compete. But would you be okay with her competing as a man? Because then she'd be at a disadvantage because of what we just talked about, that she's taken hormones and whatever to become female. So what I'm saying is, we're just saying you can't participate in anything because we don't understand.
Again, this is what. Well, this was the validity I thought, and again, I think that she's out there loony right side of the argument, but I thought it was a valid question, which the judge rightfully said is working its way through the courts. But again, you could throw examples, and I could throw examples. What if I tried to compete against Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner? I mean, the guy's he was a triathlete, he was a champion, and he all of a sudden steps in, to the woman's, let's say, soccer team or whatever. He tries to compete against the women's triathlon.
But you didn't ask me. My question is, what would you have this athlete do? Should she be allowed to participate in boys' sports or not at all? She should not be allowed to participate in anything. Well, boys, women, we're just saying you can't participate in our society in any sports. Is that what I'm just asking?
My argument is, again, with respect, Stephanie, my argument is it comes down on the side of fairness. I would have to say, unfortunately, no. You cannot compete against a woman's in a woman's sport. As a biological male in the physique of a male.
But could she participate in boys' sports? Would it be at a disadvantage?
Well, that's already started. You see women wrestlers and stuff, but they, with respect, with 3 daughters, I mean, if you threw a teenage daughter into a high school wrestling match, again, I've seen my share of tomboys, and they're great athletes, but they're at a disadvantage. It's just biological physiques. It's just
Travis,
some of them, like, very rarely, excel, but if you threw a 17-year-old girl against a 17-year-old male in a 160-pound weight class in a wrestling match, Steph, with respect, do you think she'd win? I wouldn't say I would.
I'm someone that was tortured by a Republican brother that made me do a lot of Half Nelsons and a lot of other stuff, and also stuffed me. That's why I have such a good hook shot, because he used to stuff me all the time.
Just to also to use a different example, because we are, like I said, we're focusing on this swimmer.
Yeah.
What if she were a gymnast? She would actually be at a disadvantage as a female gymnast, because she would not have the flexibility. She would not have the build to do that.
Right.
So in that regards, would you allow a trans female to compete with the guys?
Well,
that's what I was asking.
Yeah. I'm just changing the sport to something that where she would not have the same physical advantage.
And understood. And this is the complicated aspect of the argument, is that, if you wanted to put Bart Connor against Nadia Comaneci, and they're married, I believe, I mean, that's absurd.
All right, we're not going to come to an answer now. I think you just need to continue to enjoy the 2% of the show that you agree with,
and the hair lady, the hair lady,
and the three of us here probably aren't the best people in the world to answer this question.
Yeah,
because it's just not our.
We agree that Marsha Blackburn's
not our experience.
Right.
Marsha Blackburn's hair is awful, and I think that is that's a starting point for all of us. We love you, Pat.
She could use some conditioner.
We love you, Patrick.
Stay well.
All right. See, there's hope for America.
Yeah.
Look at that. That and fart jokes.
Yeah.
I was looking for Yankee Doodle. What? I know it's twice, but still.